Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrutyam
Naran Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasa
Tato Jayamudirayat
Tato Jaya Mudire
Nashtaprayasu Abhadresu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttam Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, titled Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. And today's verse is verse number 60. Swabhava Jaina Kunteya
Svabhavajena Kaunteya
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Kartuneshchasi Yanmohat
Kartum Naichasi Yat Mohat
Karisyasi Avashvapitat.
Karishyasi Avasah Api Tat
Swabhava Jaina Kunteya
Svabhavajena Kaunteya
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Kartumnechchasi Yanmohat
Kartum Naichasi Yat Mohat
Karisyasi Avashvapitat.
Karishyasi Avasa Api Tat
Anyone who would like to lead?
Svabhavajena Kaunteya
Swabhavajena Kaunteya
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Kartum Naishasi Yat Mohat
Kartum Nechyasi Yanmohat
Karishyasi Avasa Api Tat
Karisyasi Avasvapitat. Thank you very much. Word by word meaning. Swabhavajena,
Svabhavajena
born of your own nature.
Born of your own nature
Kaunteya,
Kaunteya
O son of Kunti.
O son of Kunti
Nibaddha,
Nibaddha
conditioned.
Condition
Svena,
Svena
by your own.
By your own
Karmana,
Karmana
activities.
Activities
Kartum,
Kartum
to do.
To do
No, not.
No not
Ichhasi,
Ishasi
you like.
You like
Yat,
Yet
that which.
that which
Mohat, by illusion.
Mohat by illusion
Karisyasi,
Karishyasi
you will do.
You will do
Avasa,
Avasaha
involuntarily.
Involuntarily
Api, even.
Api even
Tat, that.
Tat that
Translation by His Divine Grace C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Under illusion,
Under illusion
you are now declining
you are now declining
to act according to my direction,
to act according to my direction,
but compelled by the work
but compelled by the work
born of your own nature.
born of your own nature.
You will act all the same,
You will act all the same,
O son of Kunti.
O son of Kunti.
Anyone would like to read the purport by His Divine Grace?
If one refuses to act under the direction of the Supreme Lord, then he is compelled to act by the modes on which he is situated. Everyone is under the spell of particular combination of the modes of nature and is acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of Supreme Court becomes glorious.
Thank you very much. Let's all chant together. Agyana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुर्मिलितं येन
चक्षुरुमिलितं येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरवे नमः
श्रीगुरवे नमः
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं येन भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च
च
श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं
ज्ञातं
सागनरघुनाथान्वितं तं
मध्यन्तं
सजीवं
सजीवं
साद्वैतं सावधूतं
दूतं
परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
राधाकृष्णपादान्
सगनललिता
तथा
श्रीविशाखान्वितं
श्रीविशाखान्वितान् च
हे
हे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
करुणा
करुणा
सिंधु
सिन्धो
दीनबंधु जगतपते
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
गोपेश गोपिका कांत
गोपिकान्त
राधा कांत नमस्तुते
नमोऽस्तुते
तप्त कांचन
तप्तपञ्चं
गौरांगी
गौराङ्गी
राधे
राधे
वृंदावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते देवी
विश्वानुसुते देवी
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा सिन्धुभैव च
सिन्धुभ्येव च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
जय
नमः
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
नित्यानन्द
श्री अद्वैत
श्री अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर
शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद
श्रीगौरभक्तवृन्द
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे हरे
हरे
राम
राम
हरे
राम
राम
राम हरे
राम
हरे
राम हरे
नीलाचल
हरे
निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful sangha. So here Lord is starting to instruct Arjuna in the final few verses of Bhagavad Gita, which is going to end in few more verses. So here Krishna is beautifully explaining that Swabhava Jena Kauntaya. Krishna is speaking about habit. Swabha means habit. And what is habit? Habit is something which is born out of your own nature. And what is nature? Uh, and that is driven by your guna and karma. So from your guna and karma, the nature comes. And we'll talk about nature. It's not the material nature as we see outside. It's actually your own nature. Swabhava Jena. Then Krishna is saying, because of your nature, you are nibaddha, you are conditioned. And and because of your conditioning by your inherent nature, you will end up doing some activities. You'll do some karmana. That means you'll do some activities. And you'll do it because you are desiring or you ichhasi means you like it. And often nowadays the kids will say, I like something, I don't like it. So everything is driven by the liking. But at a very small age, what does kids know to like something or dislike something? It's all driven by their inherent conditioning. At the age of 5, kids will say, I like ice cream, I don't like, sabji and rice you give to them. It's because they don't know enough to really say what is good or bad for them. They just drive their actions based on their ichha, based on what they like. And that like or dislike is by nibaddha, is by their conditioning. Because they're controlled by the conditioning. And a 5-year old, if you see how they're conditioned, they haven't had much life to really get conditioned. When you are basically conditioned, you will basically do that with regularity. Like you wake up, that's a habit. You're conditioned to wake up, to rise early. And there are certain people you'll see they wake up at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and every day they will wake up because they're conditioned by the material nature, by the modes of material nature. And that ichasi is, Krishna is saying, is by illusion, mohat. But if involuntarily, if you follow me involuntarily, even if it is not within the realms of your material, your conditioning nature, then you'll become glorious, as Srila Prabhupada is saying. So let's focus on this verse more closely. So, Swabhava Jena Konteya Nibaddha Swena
Karmana.
Karmana Kartum Nichasi Mohat Karisyasi Abhapsati. So, we'll talk about your nature, we'll talk about uh, your condition and how it affects. So, let's try to understand. Say, for example, you have seen a snake, going around. You give him milk. The snake will take milk, and after that, the position or the nature or the habit of snake is to bite, and that biting can be irrespective of whether you have fed milk or you have not fed milk. That biting is a condition which the snake acts sometime as a mode of protection, or sometimes when you are obstructing and you are not really hampering, but the snake is not aware of the fact that he or she is not in danger, but still there is a propensity by the snake to bite. So the habit in this case is important. So, but this habit, as we discussed, for a little kid who is born 5 years ago, has not been conditioned enough, but his prarabdha karma is driving him or her to behave in certain way. So that's why Krishna says guna karma vivagasa. So based on your guna and karma. So it is understood that if a person is born of a Brahminical family, he would have some knowledge because of his conditioning, because Krishna mentions that based on your urdham gacchati sattvata, Krishna says, based on your actions, you go up or down. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions. So let's try to hear our ability to not get carried away by nature, but to question the status quo, which is very important. And often our nature is has the cheating propensity. Human beings by nature have the cheating propensity. Like once upon a time, there was a washerman. His He had a donkey who used to carry the clothes, and the name of the donkey was Sundara Gandharva. So this donkey used to take loads of clothes before and after it is washed. He will take it on the back, Sundara Gandharva, the donkey, and then the washerman will dry it, and then after drying, the donkey will carry it, and the washerman will try to size it up and then give it to. So this donkey was very helpful to this washerman. Once this donkey died, and when this donkey died, the owner, the washerman, felt very sad. He was so much remorse that in order to do the final rites, he did clear his head, and as a mode of sacrifice, he gave up his hair from his head as a mode of sacrifice. So essentially, he tonsured his head. So, seeing this washerman, the neighboring washerman asked, "Why did you tonsure your head?" Then this washerman said, "Sundara Gandharva died. In order to honor his life, I cleaned my head." The second washerman started sacrificing his hair for Sundara Gandharva. Likewise, all the washermen in that village started clearing up their head from hair. And then finally, when they saw an entire community of washermen without hair in their head, then the neighboring social positioned neighbors started asking what happened. And everybody said, Sundara, you don't know? Sundara Gandharva died. And because of that, we all have sacrificed the hair. Then the adjacent family members, the village members started sacrificing their hair from hair by getting rid of the hair. Then the Brahmanas in the village started. So the entire village got rid of their hair. And soon this news spread to the neighboring village, and everybody understood that Sundara Gandharva died, and they also cleared the hair. And finally, this news came to the uh, general of the kingdom. And when kingdom general heard the news from the minister that Sundaragandhara died, then he also cleared the head from the hair. So the entire village sacrificed their hair in as a memorial for Sundara Gandharva. Then, when the king saw the general, why did you get rid of your hair from your head? Then the general said, my minister told me. And what did the minister told you? That Sundara Gandharva died. That's why I have sacrificed my hair in memory of Sundara Gandharva. Then king started asking, who is Sundara Gandharva to the minister? And minister started asking the neighboring village, and from village to village to village. They finally got to the group of washermen and they asked, who is Sundara Gandharva? Then the washerman who got rid of his hair as a memory of Sundari Gandharva led that and found out the origin of the person who had the Sundara Gandharva, the donkey, and they asked him what happened. And when they got to the master of the donkey, who is Sundara Gandharva? Then he said Sundara Gandharva was the dedicated donkey who used to carry loads of clothes and he was helping me and I've crestfallen after Sundara Gandharva died. So because a donkey in the village washerman clan died and his name was Sundara Gandharva, it started to spread, and finally king recognized that because of the donkey whose name is Sundara Gandharva, everybody in the village and the kingdom have got rid of their hair. So the moral of the story is our habits control us, and when we do not probe with the right intent, we never know the truth. So in this example, the entire community was misled by the basic information. It is not that this information is incomplete. Actually, Sundar Gandharva died, but it is incorrect and incomplete because who is Sundar? Our ability to probe, our ability to curiously ask, our ability to clearly follow the instruction is missing here, which is why Krishna mentions in this beautiful verse that your habit will drive your actions because you are conditioned by your habit. Krishna is beautifully saying, Swabhava jena kunteyo. Swabhava is your habit which will drive you to wake up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You are basically controlled. You are nibaddha. You're controlled. You're conditioned by that habit. And this habit is a very tricky thing because most of us have different habits. Swabhava, our habits, control our actions. And they say old habits die hard. And that Krishna is mentioning to Arjuna, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, you have a choice. You have a choice, but But if you voluntarily engage yourself under the direction of the Supreme, then you become glorious. Many times we tend to think our Guru, he may not be well qualified in terms of material education, he may not be, you know, have seen the world. But Guru is the one who connects you to the Supreme. He has no personal interest. So, thinking that the Guru has to have a high degree, material degree, is not expected. If you see the history, Mirabai's Guru once upon a time used to be a cobbler, but he led Mirabai to grow that love for Godhead. So essentially, if you see all our parampara, our ability to seek truth from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra is inherently important, and which is why Krishna is saying voluntarily you have a choice and you are controlled by the swabhava or the habit. But if you follow me, if you follow the direction by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not the whims and fancies, as we heard about Sundara Gandharva, the donkey who died, and the entire kingdom got rid of the hair, but they didn't ask who Sundara Gandharva is. Without full knowledge, without seeking with curiosity, they went whimsically. And here, the habit, our, our chalta hai attitude, which is often mentioned, simply, like people will say, you know, this is how it is. That attitude have provoked us to not question the status quo. And then we choose to be under the captives of Maya. So you have a choice whether you want to become Maya Das or Krishna Das. And that choice is very important for us to follow and align. But why following the Supreme you become glorious? Because because think about Arjuna. Arjuna was having all kind of questions, and he didn't want to fight because if he fights, the kingdom will be totally eradicated, and there will be Varna Sankara. There will be pollution in the family by the infringement of different. So he was thinking too much. He was thinking, but then because he followed Krishna's instruction, he became glorious. So he did not follow the habit of, because he didn't have the full education of the Vedic scripture of Bhagavad Gita. However, he was following the habit of liking the grandparent, follow the habit of having some meek liking for the cousins, and he was not able to follow the true instruction. But when he came in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he understood that whether it is win or lose, following the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is essential. So, voluntarily, we will get controlled by the habit. But if you choose to re volunteer, in the sense, if you choose to volunteer or you choose to do devotional service, you are essentially training your habit to not follow the status quo, because habits are very dangerous things in our life. And most of the time, because of this habit, because snake, as we discussed, whether you give him milk or you drive him away, he is going to bite. And nowadays, people have pets, and we have nothing against the pets. But there are certain pets. I was reading an example in a news that a pet, when the parents were not away, the infant was left with the pet, and the pet, through whatever propensity he had, he killed the little infant. This news came in UK 20 years back, if I remember correctly. So there is that guardrail. We have to understand that there there are certain situations which is bound to happen, because you cannot make you stay away from the habit. And that's the example. Another example they give, that once uh, a fox was going, and the fox was he was going, and he stepped on a pile of bluish paint, and because of the pile of paint was too much, he was covered with blue, uh, smeared with blue paint. And when he came back, he looked a totally different person, and everybody in the forest felt that this person looks unique, and he happens to be something for which he is supreme enough. So they treated him like a king. So they treated him, I mean, from the beginning of middle of the day, as a king, king, king. And the evening came, and when the barking of the sound from the peer foxes and wolves started, this person just couldn't resist. He was treated like a king for half a day because he was looking different. But when the habit of being with the community of foxes and wolves, it was there, and when that sound came, he was enamored and attracted by that, and because of that, he just couldn't be the king he is made to believe. So he ran away to be with the herd of foxes and wolves who was barking. So essentially, it's the habit which controls us, whether it's a snake or a color smeared fox or the Sundara Gandharva example. There is that uniqueness that we have difficulty shunning from our life, and that is our habit. So, how to sway ourselves from habits, but to develop cultured habits as per Vedic instruction, as for following, as something which brings us closer? How to train our habits in such a way that it becomes aligned with Krishna consciousness, whether it is our ability to wake up early in the morning or eat only sanctified food, or offering everything, and be always aware that Krishna is around and he is controlling us, and not get carried away by the control of our habits. So with that, I'd like to end here. I'd like to hear your comments about habits, conditioning, and how we should sway our habit to train us in such a way that we, by default, start following the instructions of the Supreme, and that will make us glorious, as Krishna is mentioning, and not get carried away by our conditioned habits. So, thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
You,
Hare Krishna.
yes, Prabhuji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Thank
basically,
you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thanks for the lecture. Yeah. So, yeah, very nice explanation. It's the habits, Prabhuji. Earlier, when I read, Um, I thought it was the modes of nature basically. Of course, the habits are driven by modes of nature and our ambience, right, Prabhuji?
Hmm.
So yeah, but finally, this the practical aspect of this is that the modes of nature basically induce habits in us. They induce habits and condition us basically, and we have to do sadhana to overcome if they are not Krishna conscious. So very beautifully explained, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Balaprabhu, you are saying want to say something?
Yeah, Prabhu. Essentially, we are all creature of the habits or the comfort. We fall into a comfortable zone, and we just keep on with the comfort zone. So even when you talked about the inquiry in terms of nobody asked the question, who is Sundara Gandhava? Instead, they all took to thinking that Sundara Gandhava was a human being of some sort. And so when Sundara Gandhava, when the washerman said Sundara Gandhava died, they all thought that somebody, that's a person that died. And so they thought that's the way to do it. And they just went, and we do a lot of stuff, especially me in particular. I fall into the same comfort zone and forget to pursue the intellectual inquiry, saying that what is it, why I'm doing this, right? And that is missing. And until you put in an effort and to come out of it and ask yourself the question, why are you doing this? Why? What is in it? And so otherwise you just keep on doing the same thing over and over again without realizing that what you're doing may or may not be the right way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, so Prabhuji and Prabhuji mentioned our ability uh, to get in a comfort zone is significant because we are inherently lazy and we have the cheating propensity. So these are all some of the qualities of the common man. If there is a chance of getting something easier is there, then we would resort to it. And look at how iPhones have become popular. It's an easy way of communication, and there is absolutely nothing wrong about it. It's very good. But instead of we controlling the need from iPhone, time has come that iPhones are starting to control us, or or the, the current mobile uh, toys we have is controlling us. And in doing so, what is happening? We are falling a victim or a slave to the social networking, this phones, and which was supposed to help us in a crisis. If you are in a bad place and your car broke down, the phone helps you. Instead of that being the driver, it has become as if that is the pleasure seeking activity through YouTube, shorts, Instagram clips, and so on and so forth. So we are getting addicted,
Slave.
slave, yeah, slave, thank you, to that. And that is making our habits go in a totally different direction, our chanting or our focus. What is chanting? Chanting is a form of meditation. This is supposed to help us, our ability to gives little time to the Supreme who has created us is not there. In our heart, we have our soul, which is part and parcel of the super soul, who is also co-located in the heart with soul and super soul. Instead of hearing them, instead of following them, where we have come from, we choose to become slaves, as Prabhuji said, of these gadgets, of these laziness, of and how we should do sadhana, as Prabhuji used the word, to train our mind in a different way, is what Krishna is saying. How you can train your mind to follow me and not follow your material instincts. Once we become more Krishna consciousness, our instincts will change. Whenever we seek our food outside, if there is an ant has a life, we'll choose to put our feet away from that ant, which may not have been the case before you became intelligent enough to understand Bhagavad Gita. So these are some of the reasons why Krishna consciousness is important in our life, is to how to change our habits involuntarily, involuntarily change our habits to voluntarily go and start doing devotional service. Sundays, when Sundays comes, instead of going to mundane places, how to go to temple and start cleaning pots, doing garland, dress the deities, serve the devotees, cooks for the devotees, and then our mind is trained. Bhakti is a means to get us to the end of loving devotional service. That's why Srila Prabhupada emphasized the importance of loving devotional service. Unless we do devotional service, our habits will not change. Our habits will never change. You do something, you start liking it. And Srila Prabhupada emphasized that habits are controlling us and how to do it right. Thank you so much. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, Prabhuji. So this Sundar Gandharva example, Prabhuji, is very classic. That's why Prabhupada, see, similarly, if we correlate, Prabhuji, we are not atato Brahma Jigyasa. We never inquire, Prabhuji, because of the conditioning and the times, place, and circumstance, right, Prabhuji? So right now the time and circumstances are such that we are never questioning the Atato Brahma Jigyasa, right? We don't have that Jigyasa. We are accepting what others are doing, right? Okay, I will also run for money or run for fame, run for. So we are technically following that Sundar Gandharva principle only, Prabhuji, right? Um, had we not been Sundar Gandharva followers, we would have had our gurukulas, we would have our culture, and maybe we wouldn't have westernized our educational system and all of that, Prabhuji. So that also, I felt that we are doing that Sundar Gandharva because we are not trying to find the means follow the Atato Brahma Jigyasa principle.
Mhm.
So what our neighbors are doing or what in general populace is doing, we are doing that.
Yes, Fruji, you're right.
In a
Bala,
simplistic sense,
hmm,
in a simplistic sense, we are taking the easy way out. And when we take the easy way out, it doesn't cause any discomfort to us. So, when a particular mode of or zone, and we said ourselves, well, like nowadays, Zoom is available, all these things are available, and sometimes you say to yourself that why should I go to the temple and listen to the lecture? Why not I just put it on Zoom? And if the Zoom is not coming right, if you're not here, you call and complain saying, I'm not able to hear you. Can you adjust the Zoom? And I do that a lot of times. And we think, at least in my case, I think that I'm saving time by doing that. Or, get into the habit of multitasking. You're listening on the one hand, you're doing something else on the other hand. And somehow at the end of the day, when you look at it, it didn't really save time. You neither got the effect of the whole lecture, nor got the effect of what you're doing. You never paid full attention to either one of them. And that goes on. But this particular verse is very important, very good in the sense that it kind of tells you, hey, do something meaningful and change your habit and realign yourself in a different manner. This is not the way that life can go on. You
mhm.
had to do something different and get out of this laziness and get out of this habit of being in a comfort zone. And that's where I understand.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. And also, Mataji is put in the chat that when you think something and you try to do something, and after doing that, doing action, doing that activity for a little longer time, that turns into habits. And there are good habits, there are bad habits. So typically, because we have this inherent ahankar, the false ego, we think we are superior to others. We have a preconditioned notion that higher degrees means higher intelligence. So a person who is higher degree or holding a CXO position, we look up, we look up in the wrong way, in the sense that the knowledge is material knowledge, and we put a lot of emphasis on that. So this is our habit, which has grown because in our childhood, our parents have put that seed or thought in their mind. So thoughts turns into action, and action turns into habit. So, but what happens is, initially when you come to Krishna consciousness, you bring in those impurities. So when you are in association, you try to show off, you try to feel superior, you try to offend. But then gradually, what happens, as you see humility, as you see, some people, they take longer to understand that this humility has power. They they don't understand that there is a difference between humility and meekness. Meekness is a weakness, but humility is not meek. Humility has the control to feel low when you're truly at a high of being the servant of the servant of the servant. When we feel that we are lower than a blade of grass, it is not a sign of laziness. It's not a sign of weakness or meekness. So as the habits are coming into a system, initially we have those material concoctions which gives you an opportunity to offend. But what happens is, as you start to read, start to chant, start to serve, do pot cleaning, cleaning the temple, cleaning the periphery, you develop that sense of humility. And when you develop the sense of humility, you think that everyone else is more knowledgeable. Not what your parents or our society taught us, but this newfound way of recognizing that we are humbler than a blade of grass and others. So you seek an intent to absorb things from others rather to give it up. There are certain people that they have no interest or no enthusiasm to hear, because they have already spoken. All their life they have only spoken to others. So trying to build that at a late age is actually very difficult. So a person, you see, there are certain people in the family they can only say, they will never follow. But by being in Krishna consciousness, by being in the devotional service area, we tend to receive, and make no mistake, that tend to receive, our ability to do pot cleaning is actually helping you. Any devotional service you end up doing is helping you turn around things, become more purified, and take and get rid of the mental contaminations, as Mataji has put it. So that really brings out a different you in you. Earlier, you were controlled by the material. You're getting angry because somebody says something, but now you're not getting angry. You see the transformation in this life. That's why Krishna consciousness is an experience which you want to experience in this life and transform in this life. It's not something you do and get the benefit in the next life. You'll see that you're more calmer, you're less angry, you are following the righteous principles which was not happening before, and you are into a better, calmer future, and your habits, as Krishna is mentioning, is controlled not by your whims and fancies, but by Krishna himself. More devotional service is the answer. Is that okay, Mataji?
Prabhuji, one point. Mataji is asking that give some solutions, right?
Hmm?
Mataji,
I was thinking devotional service is definitely a
yeah.
solution. Yeah.
So the root cause, what I wanted to tell Prabhuji, all why would we mentally offend others, Prabhuji, even not if not physically, is because of our false ego, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
And false ego and superiority complex, right? These are the fundamental reasons for offending others. We think we are correct and we think we know better. See, these are the two fundamental reasons. But as you have rightly told, in the right association of devotees and devotion, loving devotional service, these things will fade away, Mataji. You start realizing that you don't know much or you are not superior much. So these are the two. So as Prabhuji told, the moment we start cleaning the pots, we realize that we are not superior. Um, and it also kills our ego, Mataji, false ego. And because you are doing a devotional service to Krishna, so your whoever you mentally offended, uh, you are cleaning their pot also, Mataji. So Krishna automatically will take away your false ego and he will nurture the right perspective in you so that we will not offend others next time. So that is through association, bhakti, or loving devotional service. Mataji. So that is our fundamental solution is loving devotion for everything. That's why Prabhupada always says loving devotional service. What is bhakti? Bhakti is which connects basically you and God. Prabhupada's definition is that, Mataji. You and God. So when that connection is broken by our ego, then we make offenses. If that connection is established, our ego is lost and we won't make offenses.
And also, when you mix with others, see, so far you had that puffed up notion that you know a lot more than others. But once you start mixing with pure devotees, you know how much you don't know. And actually, the learning starts when you know how much you don't know, your learning starts. Until that time, you are not absorbing. A sponge, when it's squeezed fully, can absorb more water. But if the sponge is filled and puffed with water, however water you put, it's not going to absorb any. So our detection point being how much you know, your ability to learn or and know depends on how much you don't know. So once you mix with devotees, you know how much the different perspective. That's why Srila Prabhupada wanted everybody to come together, including Indians, non-Indians, so that love is an inherent thing. It's a nectarian thing, and it doesn't have any boundaries. And when you allow everybody to come build a garland, that's why the garlands, the prasadam, the decorations, the shringar comes out the best in a coherent environment, and we see the result right then and there. Anything else? Anybody else wants to add? These are wonderful reflections from all of you. Okay, so we can end today's discussion. It was a very engaging and enlivening discussion. Tomorrow is Philadelphia Rath Yatra. You might have seen the flyer. Please attend. It ends in that uh, place where they have their uh, the official government buildings, beautiful place, which they do it there every year. They, generally speaking, once or twice it was cancelled because of weather or once. uh, the approval was not there. The last Saturday of September is always our Philadelphia Rath Yatra. You can mark your calendars for the next 5-10 years. Like the second Saturday of June is the New York City Rath Yatra. The last Saturday is the Philadelphia Rath Yatra. So try to attend tomorrow. It will be a wonderful uh, expression of love to the Lord of the universe. There are three chariots every year. So seeing Lord in three different chariots, it only you can only see it in Jagannath Puri or in New York City or Philadelphia. Not many places have the luxury of having three chariots, and which is something which is fascinating for me personally to do of that scale and magnitude in United States. So make the most of it. And I was hearing that some prominent sannyasis are in town. They may be giving katha on Sunday evening. I was hearing Janananda Goswami Maharaj is there, who is full of energy and he expresses Krishna consciousness in the most simplest manner. So try to get his association on Sunday. With that, I would like to thank you and offer obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying
Pancha,
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Kalpyascha,
kripa
Prabhat
sindubhyaeva
Upasindhuvaicha,
Patitanam
patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavo
Vaishnavebhyo
Nama
Vaishnavebhyo,
Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Diki
jai.
Jai.
Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita
Ki
ki
Jai.
jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
At ki Jai.
Gaur
Prabhuji, any
Premanande.
bus facilities there to go to Philadelphia?
No bus facility is there, Prabhu, uh, because of different services.
Okay,
People
okay,
are
Prabhuji.
leaving at different times. So
Oh, okay, Prabhuji, we'll see.
yeah, something can be arranged, Prabhu, if you connect with a few of your devotees, if devotee friends, because different people they go from A to B, and from B they go to Philadelphia. Some people go early, some people go
Ah,
in the
right.
yeah. So you can
Ah,
connect, and you may find some
okay,
scheduling
Prabhuji.
alignments with someone. Please,
Okay,
I
okay,
can,
Prabhuji. Oh, thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
If let me know by tomorrow if you not find something. We'll see how we can sort of.
okay.
Okay, bro.
Are you going, Prabhuji?
Actually, I'll be going to a different place in the
Okay,
morning because I have to give something to that, and from there I'll be.
Ach,
So
okay.
my schedule is slightly uh, mixed up, but let's see. We can play it by ear and see how.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji.
I'll ping someone and see
Okay,
how. Yeah.
okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you
Hare
so much
Krishna.
for. Let's end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Ji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Him Jagannath Prabhu ki Jai.